Sermon on Saint Anthony, preached in Rome in the Church of the Portuguese by the celebrated Jesuit priest Father Antonio Vieira. Vos estis lux mundi. You are the light of the world. Part 1. Today we celebrate an Italian Portuguese and a Portuguese Italian. Saint Anthony was indeed the light of the world. Like the sun, Saint Anthony was born in one place and buried in another. Portugal celebrates Saint Anthony of Lisbon because it gave him birth. Italy celebrates Saint Anthony of Padua because it gave him burial. This was rather surprising. The prodigious Joseph, who spent most of his life in a foreign land, ordered that his body be returned to the land of Canaan, his homeland, and not remain in Egypt. In Egypt, he performed many wonders. In Egypt, he received adoration, but he did not want his bones to rest in the land where he reigned, but in the land where he was born. He wanted his homeland to know that he valued nature more than fortune. He preferred a shallow grave in 7 feet of his own land over Egyptian pyramids in a foreign land. Thus I thought that Saint Anthony, following the law of a good Portuguese, should also do the same. As I am about to protest this on behalf of his homeland, the gospel interrupted me with his mission and duty. Vos estis lux mundi. You are the light of the world. Take note, says the evangelist, that Anthony was the light of the world. If he was indeed so, then Portugal has no reason to complain. If Anthony had not been destined to shine like the sun, he would have been buried where he was born. But since God made him to light up the world, it is his duty to be born in one place and buried in another, just like the sun. Prophesying about the birth of Christ, Prophet Malachi says that he would rise like the sun of justice. And what did Christ do as the sun and as the just one? As the sun, he altered the horizons, for he was born in one place and died in another. And as the just one, he gave each their own. He honored Bethlehem with the cradle and Jerusalem with the sepulchre. So did Anthony. If Lisbon was the dawn of his east, let Padua be the sepulchre of his west. Padua raised a glorious sepulchre to the sacred relics of Anthony. There the 4 elements subjected in obedience to our saint: the earth with prostrated animals, the sea with listening fish, the air with suspended storms, the fire with halted flames. Let the innumerable spoils of his beneficence hang as trophies on his tomb: the banners of victors, the anchors of shipwrecked, the chains of the captives, the shrouds of the resurrected, and the votive offerings of the sick of all diseases. Let this sanctuary be decorated with ex votos of eyes, tongues, and ears, ears with which he gave hearing to so many deaf, eyes with which he restored sight to so many blind, and tongues with which he freed the speech of so many mute. As for his body, let his tongue be honored. This instrument of preaching is indeed marvelous, alive before the resurrection, revived despite the earth, incorrupt despite the ashes, whole despite the sepulchre, immortal despite time, simply eternal. Now this is what Italy sees in Padua. And in Lisbon, what do Portugal and the world see? Not many, but one great miracle. Not the miracles of the saint, but the miracle of the saints. Across the country, Anthony can be seen on the altars with hands full of mementos as God's close confidant, promptly fulfilling divine tasks to convert the souls of his people. His birthplace is now a grand royal sanctuary. Its foundations also serve as the capital or senate of the triumphant city, which after mastering the untamed ocean, discovered, conquered, and united vast lands to the Roman Church, truly making Rome the head of the world. So you see, in this very church and his sepulchre, Anthony is shared between Portugal and Italy. The light of the world is seen split between Padua and Lisbon. Padua is glorious because it can say, "Here he lies." Lisbon is glorious because it can say, "Here he was born." But which is more glorious? I will not decide. Let each share the glory. The honors of St. Anthony of Padua can remain with the eloquent Italian speakers. But today, I will only speak of St. Anthony of Lisbon. To praise this great Portuguese saint and to teach the Portuguese who love him so, I will base my sermon on the words of the gospel. You are the light of the world. The argument of my discourse will be this, that St. Anthony was the light of the world because he was a true Portuguese, and that he was a true Portuguese because he was the light of the world. Now, St. Anthony could have been the light of the world, no matter his roots. But since he was born in Portugal, he would not be a true Portuguese if he were not the light of the world. For others, being the light of the world is a special grace, but for the Portuguese, it is a natural duty. This is what the Portuguese today will hear about themselves and their fellow countrymen. Ave Maria. Be sure to join us tomorrow for the next part. St. Anthony of Padua, pray for us. St. Anthony of Lisbon, pray for us. May God bless you for your generosity.